everybody to Slash Your Theory. Today we're going to be talking about Scream 7. A new final trailer just dropped today, and we're going to go over it, dissect it inch by inch, give some predictions and theories that I might have. I know there's some leaks going around out there, but I've avoided those at all costs, so every theory and prediction that I make is coming from me and not what those leaks have said. Kevin Williamson also has come out and said a few things that I find interesting that I'm going to talk about at the end of the video, and I might go over a few other things also. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like this video. I have other videos, I have reaction videos to Buffy the Vampire Slayer that you might enjoy. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with this new trailer. Let's go. So in this scene, you see Ghostface jumping off what looks to be the top of the whatever this is on the ceiling, because he kind of jumps down and he smashes on the glass right here, like right up here. I think is where he is on. As you can clearly see, or somewhere or something. It looks like he comes from somewhere and drops down on this glass. I think it's up here. I think he's like hiding up here and he kind of goes down and jumps down, lands down on the glass. You hear the whimpering of the guy who I suggest was going to die. I call him the Billy Loomis wannabe lookalike, whatever you want to call him. But I think that he is definitely going to die, and he's about to get it right here. And this is his kill scene, and Ghostface jumps down. I don't know if this is just another Ghostface that was hiding out, or if this is the one that's been attacking. I think this is just another one that was hiding out. I think the other one is in the back here, messing with Chad and Mindy. So I think this one just jumped down to finish this one guy off. You see the guy climb to the window, put his hand in front of the window as he's trying to get out. Ghostface comes, picks him up, and is dragging him. And here in a second, you're going to hear the heavy breathing of Ghostface, which is a heavy indicator to Stu. Paramount knows what they did in this thing, in this trailer, with all the trailers, really, with all the heavy breathing. They're trying to indicate Stu to throw us off the trail, which there's a lot of things in the trailers that's not actually going to be in the movie. And I think this is going to be one thing. I don't think Ghostface is going to have the heavy breathing at all. They're pushing the Stu angle way too much, and I'm a big Stu believer that he is alive, but they're pushing it way too much. Uh, I don't think Stu is actually going to be in this movie alive. I think it's going to be someone connected to Stu, like his sister, or maybe a brother that we didn't know about, or his father, or somebody that is very connected to Stu. Maybe Stu had a kid that we never even knew about with somebody else, like Billy did uh, with Sam. Had Sam and we didn't know about. Maybe it's just maybe it's Stu's kid. And this guy, he gets dragged all the way. I don't know where he gets dragged to. He does get dragged pretty far into the bar here. And in another trailer at a scene, you see the one of Tatum's friends finds, I think, this body and kind of freaks out a little bit. This is also one of the deaths I did talk about in the live stream that I did, because it is definitely a death that we did see. And I think this death is actually going to be in the movie, unfortunately. This kid is going to die. We see Mark there get it once more, uh, which we've seen in 100 other trailers. Unfortunately, I don't think this scene is actually going to be in the movie. They show it way too much, and I don't think they would show Sydney's husband getting murdered in the trailer, or anyway, I don't even think they would even kill Sydney's husband, to be honest, because they're trying to give Sydney deserves her happy ending, and I think killing her husband is kind of just pushing her character backwards, not forwards. Because, I mean, she's lost a lot of people that she's loved in her life. She's lost Derek, Tatum, Hallie, Dewey. So she deserves to have her happy ending. She does not deserve for her husband to be killed and murdered off in this movie. I don't see them doing it, but they could. They very well could.
I'm gonna make everyone you love suffer.
And in this kind of section, you kind of get some glimpses of the psychiatric hospital. Again, the pictures and stuff that Sydney goes and finds with Gail. And then it cuts to this scene where you see in the streets, Tatum looks behind her, and you see kind of the silhouette over here of Ghostface with holding his knife out, which means this is a Ghostface that is definitely chasing her through the streets for sure.
including your pretty daughter.
And again, some more heavy breathing, which is another heavy indication of stew.
Don't you fucking dare!
I like that kind of the scene of Nev right there of saying that. That kind of does look like a fake thing that was put in the movie because the lips sync kind of doesn't really match up to what she just said. So I don't think she really says that. I think she says, "Don't you dare." I don't think she actually says, "Don't you fucking dare." But if she does, that would be really cool. And I also think if she does say that, that's probably later on in the movie, and they just kind of took that, clip it, and then kind of moved it in on with that to kind of show that. It's what I think, if it is in the movie. And now you kind of see Ghostface have the knife in the wall, so he must be in a fight here with Mark. He stabs the wall, and then he pulls the knife back out of the wall, and he continues to fight with Mark here, which Mark has given Ghostface a run for his money. And I think this is this night that Ghostface jumps from the attic and attacks Sidney and Tatum, and I think Mark is trying to protect. And I think this is leading up to when Mark gets stabbed with all the plastic, because I think the plastic wrap is in their own house, in a section of their own house that they're just fixing up for renovating. Yeah, Sidney and Tatum kind of just run off while Mark is dealing with Ghostface here. But you could definitely see how scared Sidney kind of and Tatum kind of look. Mark does take the knife, get the knife somehow, and I think this is how the knife ends up in the wall to begin with, before Ghostface takes it out, because Mark stabs it right in the wall here, and then Ghostface I think then pushes him away. We get the opening kill again, and this is I think Ghostface coming down the steps, which I thought this is steps to Sydney's house, but I think this is in that theater. Because it kind of looks like you see the like the tree thing over here. This looks like the theater, so I think Ghostface is coming from the theater and is about to like kill the person in the theater that's hanging, which I still believe is Hannah. And we get Ghostface stabbing into the wall again, which very I'm gonna love that scene for sure when I see that. And then in this scene, you got cops coming down again. You see Hannah here, swing in with her. I think she gets, like I said, she gets gutted in the scene. I know that. Uh, which I believe it's Hannah, but a lot of people think it's Anna Camp's character, which I don't think so because of the heels and stuff. I think this is Hannah. I think Hannah is in a school play, and I think she's probably not auditioning, but I think she's rehearsing her lines and stuff. And she gets attacked by Ghostface and then gets killed here, or she just got chased here and then gets killed here. It's kind of a homage to Scream 2. And again, you got to get some fast glimpses of Ghostface attacking Mindy and Chad finding, I think, Mindy's dead body still. You see Gail coming out with Chad. Like everything we've seen in the other trailers, you kind of see here. You see the house burning again, Ghostface walking.
It's gonna be fun.
You hear Stu saying, "This is going to be fun." And then you see this chick get attacked. The opening kill happen again.
Creepy's kind of hot.
And then this is kind of funny. This is actually kind of funny. The Tatum's friend. This is the chick I was talking about. That I can't think her. I think her name's Chloe in the movie. She is the one that finds that one kid's dead body. The Billy Loomis guy, lookalike guy, wannabe. And I think when she says creepy is kind of hot, I think she says that to Ghostface. I think before the actual attack actually happens, I think the bar is closing down and she's trying to close the shop up and Ghostface attacks and she's like, creepy is kind of hot before he starts killing. And you see Ghostface here. This is in the back with Chad and Mindy. He tilts his head and I think he's tilting his head because maybe Mindy's saying something to Ghostface. Not really too sure on that. I don't think he's doing that to because she said creepy's kind of hot because it's definitely a different location.
Only in
And then you see Ghostface attacking her,
theaters Friday. Get
and that's
tickets
all you get.
now.
And then that's all you get for the trailer. So I mean, the trailer it does look good. I mean, there's not anything really too spoilery in it, and you get a couple kind of a new scenes like Ghostface, the silhouette of Ghostface in the alley chasing Tatum, and then the girl saying creepy is kind of hot, which is kind of a cool homage to what Tatum said in the garage to Ghostface. And you also got Mark attacking the Ghostface, fighting Ghostface off and stuff like that, which is actually pretty cool, I think. Also, we didn't get to see that in the other trailers, so we actually get to see Mark protecting his family. We only got the only scene we saw with Mark is when he's like in bed with Sydney in the kitchen grabbing his coffee and then getting killed by Ghostface. Now you're getting him actually fighting Ghostface, taking the knife, about to stab Ghostface in the head, but it hits the wall, and then he ends up against the bookcase, and then Ghostface takes the knife out of the wall and probably chases Mark all the way to through some plastic and which is I think is still a section of their house that's under renovation or something. And then Ghostface jumps out and stabs him, which I don't believe that's actually a scene in the movie, but it could be. I'm not for sure, and I think if it is, he's not going to actually die, but he is going to get severely injured, and I think that's what leads to the other cops because he is a cop. So that's going to lead the other cops to try to find out who this Ghostface is, and that's why they kind of chasing Ghostface around, and they end up in that theater and find that dead body swinging of Hannah's. Um, but yeah, but do I think Stu is actually alive? Like I said earlier in the video, I'm a big Stu believer that he is alive. I believe that he could be in that psychiatric hospital, but some new information did come to light recently. Another theory came to light from somebody else that I am actually I never even thought about and I'm actually interested with is that it could be Randy in the mental institutes instead. Which I give all the credit to Shell on Kristen Shell Talk Movies for this theory, because that is an interesting, very, very interesting theory of who's in the a mental asylum, psychiatric hospital, I should say, because I never even thought about that. I mean, you see a picture on the fountain with Billy, Sydney, Stu, Tatum, and Randy, and you always think it's Stu. It's Stu because everyone always thought it because everyone thinks Stu's alive, and so they think, oh, it's gonna be Stu. But what if it's not Stu, Billy, Sydney, or Tatum? It's Randy that's in the psychiatric hospital because he could have survived the events of Scream too. Like he got stabbed 4 times, but how many times did Chad get stabbed in Scream 6? How many times did he get stabbed in Scream 5? I mean, Chad was like a freaking pincushion in 6. He got stabbed like 10, 15 times, and he still survived. So I couldn't Randy get stabbed 4 times and not survive. Like I said, that theory does not come from me. I'm not gonna take any credit for it. That came from Shell on Shell and Chris Talk Movies. Check them out. They're great. They do some watch parties and stuff. They had a Scream Marathon the other night, which was a great hangout. I loved it. So please check them out. Subscribe to them, like them, do whatever you possibly can. They're great people, and I highly recommend them. Now on to other news. Kevin Williamson did come out with some interesting things. He did talk about how his version of Scream 6, he would have had Gail trying to find new love because Kevin even thought about killing Dewey off also. He was going to do it. He came out and said he was going to kill Dewey. So Dewey was going to die. He was just going to die. He was destined to die in the Scream franchise. That he was going to get killed one way or another. But I wish if Kevin would have killed Dewey, it probably would have been a lot better than what we did get. It wouldn't have been. It would have probably done Dewey justice. It wouldn't have like been a dumb kill for him. Because how they killed Dewey was really really dumb, especially with him getting the elevator where he's safe, and then all of a sudden he takes the elevator and says, "Wait, I gotta shoot him in the head." Wait, he doesn't say I gotta shoot him in the head. He says, "You gotta shoot him in the head." And then Richie was like, "Why the hell does that matter?" Or who cares about that? Or something like that. And then Dewey's like, I do. And then the door is closed. He goes, loads his gun up, points the gun, and then his phone rings. You think, oh, Ghostface is calling him, but no, it's actually Gale. And then as he looks at the phone and sees Gale, Ghostface comes up and stabs him right in the gut, and then takes his other knife out and stabs him in the back, lifts him up. And this is supposed to be freaking Amber doing this, okay? A 90-pound, 5-foot girl picking Dewey up, picking up this 6-foot man that weighs like 200 pounds, picking him up and just splitting him and have his intestines literally spilling out onto the floor here, and it literally picks Dewey up above his head. He's literally looking up at Dewey going, "It's a my it's an honor." And he says, "It's an honor." And then takes his knives out and Dewey falls down dead. I mean, nah, no, that I don't ever believe Amber did that. There's no way you're gonna convince me, and nothing anybody's ever gonna say. I don't care for the stunt double that was in the costume and did it, but it's supposed to be Amber doing that kill. And there's no feasible way that she did that kill. There's just not. It's not physically possible. So that was really such a dumb kill for Dewey. I wish he would have went out like trying to protect Sam, like he got in the way of a stab or something and then get killed. Like he should have went out as a hero, not as somebody who's like, I gotta shoot this person in the head. I think Dewey should have just took the elevator, left Ghostface alone for right now, took the elevator, made sure he got Sam and Tara and everyone out, and then grabbed a few cops, went back in. Ghostface was gone. They look around, and then that's when the scene ends. They move on. Dewey's alive, and Sidney could have came in because she wanted to help out Dewey and Gale because she was in fear for their lives and stuff. So she went, and then Dewey and Gale and Sidney could have all teamed up once more and went to that house with Stu, try to protect Sam. And that's when Dewey could have met his end. Yeah, it would have been very homage to the first Scream when Dewey got stabbed in the back, because Dewey was technically supposed to die in that movie in Scream 1. He was supposed to get killed, but Wes was like, "We're not gonna kill you off. I like your character too much, so we're gonna keep you in. Just do a thumbs up at the end of the movie to let the audience know you're alive." It would have been a great homage because then Dewey could have went there, protected Sam or Tara by one of these ghost faces, and then Mary gets stabbed to death outside on that porch after he gets Sam and Tara out of the house, or Sidney out of the house, or somebody out of the house. Ghostface pops up behind him, stabs him multiple times in the back, or stabs him in the back, and then goes around, does the front, and then split him, and then fall down and then die right there on the porch where he originally got stabbed. He came out and fell on the porch. The first one, that could have happened from when the hospital and could have been in the porch instead. And then we would have believed it a lot more because then it would have been like, who actually did kill Dewey? Was it Amber or was it Richie? And a lot of people would say it was Richie because he could probably physically do it to kill Dewey. He had the height, he had probably the build for it. I think Richie could have killed Dewey. It would have been more believable that Richie killed Dewey than it would have for Amber to kill Dewey in the hospital. The hospital thing just made no sense. But I think my version is a hell of a lot better than what we got. And it would have been paid homage to the first Scream film, where Dewey was supposed to die, and he actually did die in Scream 5 on that porch. Would have been great. It is very interesting that Kevin Williamson did talk about how he was going to kill Dewey off also, and then Scream 6 was going to originally be a Gale story of Gale trying to find love, and she doesn't know if her boyfriend is actually Ghostface or not, and Ghostface is trying to kill her. So I don't know if a Gale-centric story would have actually worked, but it would have been very interesting to see. I would have loved to see a Gale story because Gale's never really had her own story. She's never been the chance to be the leading star, which having her own Scream film, being the leading star, would have probably been great for her character. And then where she is now a survivor of murders, which she's already been a survivor of murders, but she's never really been initially been the target. It's always been Sidney. Sydney, and Gale has always been collateral damage. Pretty much anywhere anyone around Sydney was collateral damage. But yeah, I did find that very interesting that Kevin did come out and say that, and he also said that uh, his original idea for Scream 5 was that Jill was going to survive the events of Scream 4 if they would have originally kept what happened in Scream 4, where they ended it when she said they say, "Oh, Gale is a survivor," yada yada yada, where she got reeled out and Sydney was dead. They could have cut it there, and then Scream 5 could have picked up, and Kevin said that his Scream 5 was gonna be Jill was in college, and then a Ghostface killing started once more, but this time it was a Ghostface that knew who Jill was and was killing people around her and stuff, trying to expose Jill and all that. I think it would have been very. I think that's also an awesome idea. I think it would have been cool to see Jill come back in Scream 5 if they did do that ending in Scream 4, and then have either Sydney snap and become Ghostface or have Gale snap and become Ghostface and try to expose her, which it would have been more reasonable for Sydney to snap and become Ghostface and then try to kill Jill because the fact Sydney's been through so much stuff. Like any person that has been through not one, not two, not three, but four Ghostface massacres, seeing all those dead bodies, losing all your friends and stuff, I mean, anybody would just snap under the pressure. And I think Sydney could have snapped, been Ghostface, tried to target Jill, go after Jill, and try to kill her and maybe her friends and stuff, trying to expose Jill, and eventually would have left off to a final standoff to where maybe Sydney actually did kill Jill, and Sydney becomes the survivor again by exposing Jill and framing Jill for all the killings that happened at the college, and then Sydney's a survivor again, and then we move on from there. But it would have been an interesting idea, but also would have been kind of weird and sucky. And now that I think about it, it probably wouldn't have been a great idea. But it does sound kind of fun to think about. But you got to figure Sydney is very, 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 very strong minded. Like she's gone through all this stuff. She's on her seventh movie now, and she's gone through 5 different massacres from Scream 1 to 5. She wasn't in Scream 6, so she didn't have to go through that. But she went through 5 different movies, killing sprees, and lost a lot of people along the way. And yeah, it's just she's very strong-minded. She is. She's tough. Sydney is definitely the superior scream queen, as you might call it. But yes, I think that's all I have really to say here. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was a blast sitting here talking about this new trailer that dropped, giving you some more of my theories and stuff. I will do a live stream talking about spoilers and stuff, Scream 7, kind of giving my review and everything over Scream 7. It probably won't be for at least a week or two after the movie drops, just to kind of give time for people to watch it and everything. So, yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you like the video. I have other videos on the channel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's the live video that you can watch that I talk about the other trailers and the artwork and give more of my theories and predictions more in depth in that video. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!